What's up everyone, Kara Corey here, and for today's video we're going to talk about some of the top signs that you are not working out hard enough and not working out to your potential. But before we dive right into that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, especially if you're new here, but even if you are not new here, I've heard some people have been getting unsubscribed. Thanks, YouTube. And so double check, make sure you're subscribed. You can also hit that little post notification bell to make sure you guys are notified as soon as I upload. I do not have a consistent upload schedule, so I just kind of stick them in there whenever I feel like it. So make sure you hit that little bell and you will be the first to know when my videos go live. All right, so for those of you that have followed me for a while, you know I've been doing the world's slowest cut. And so with that, I've been assessing myself and what's been going on and what I may or may not need to do differently. And it's always good to kind of take a look in the mirror before you want to place blame on everyone else. Oh, my coach isn't moving aggressively, or it's work's fault because they're stressing me out, or it's my husband or my family because they're not supportive. You need to check yourself and do a good assessment of what you're doing and maybe what you could be doing better. And for myself, this is totally relatable. I'm preaching to myself here as I preach to you guys. But one thing I think about, and I know I'm not doing good enough, is my workouts. I know I am not working to my true potential. And there's a couple ways to know whether you are or not. We're going to go through that. And for myself, it's something I recognize that I'm kind of going to the gym because I should, going through the motions, but I'm not being super consistent. I'm not on a good routine, and I'm not feeling it. So things that you guys can look for to know whether or not you are working hard enough or not in the gym. First thing you can utilize to know whether or not you're truly working hard enough is measuring your heart rate. And this is more so for cardio, but again, depending on if you do lift, you could do this as well. But really measuring your heart rate is something you should be doing in order to assess where you're at. I had a huge reality check with this when I did the Orange Theory, I believe it's called. Yeah, I hopped in and did an Orange Theory class one weekend, and that's kind of how they base all their workouts, is measuring your heart rate and making sure you're working in that kind of 75 to 100% capacity for your maximum heart rate and where it should be. And when I was doing that class, I just wanted to throw up the entire time because it had been so long since I had done a workout of that nature where I was actually getting my heart rate up that high. And you need to, if you are someone that is trying to lose weight, if you're trying to improve your endurance, if you're trying to improve your strength, if you're trying to make body composition changes, you can't just be down here flatlining. You need to be getting your heart rate raised. So that's the first thing. If you're not measuring your heart rate at all, it's very simple to do. Most of us at this point in our lives in 2018, we have some kind of heart rate monitor, whether it's like a fitness watch or tracker. Most of our cell phones have apps you can download. If not, you can even do it the old school way where mid-workout, or if you're doing cardio, just stop, put your 2 fingers on your pulse and measure your pulse for 15 seconds. If you multiply that by 4, that's going to give you your heart rate. And kind of a basic method to measure where your max heart rate should be is taking 220 and subtracting your age from it. And that's kind of a quick and easy way to estimate what your max heart rate should be. So ask yourself that if you're measuring your heart rate, and how high are you getting your heart rate during your workouts. That could be one area that maybe if you just shift your focus and start focusing more so on that than just sitting on a recumbent bike, flipping through a magazine, or I know I'm guilty of getting on the stepper and scrolling through Instagram or watching YouTube videos, which are great to zone out and just kind of get it done. But quite honestly, if you are aiming to get results and you're not looking to maintain where you're at, then you need to be cognizant of where you're at with your training, your intensity. That leads me into the next sign you're not working hard enough. If you can hold a conversation during your workout. And it's not to say that there aren't times that you should work out where you can hold a conversation, but if you're running or doing the stepper, if you're, lifting, if there's no intensity there and you can just chit chat to your neighbor or your workout buddy with no problems, if you can sing at the top of your lungs while you're working out and whistle and all that good stuff, odds are you're probably not training hard enough. So think about that. Yes, there will be times where part of your workout is just going for a leisurely walk where you can hold a conversation, and that's great. Those types of workout sessions should be incorporated into your workout routine as well. But if the majority of the time you're just kind of going through those motions with no level of intensity, again, you're likely not going to be achieving the results that you're hoping to achieve. Next thing to assess is soreness. Let's talk about soreness, because I've said it before, it's not your number one factor to determine if you had a great workout or not. But if you're someone who's starting a new workout program or, starting whatever, if you're working out, you've been working out for a while, and you're never feeling any level of soreness, it may be time to switch up your program or ask yourself, am I training hard enough? Am I lifting heavy enough weights? Am I lifting enough reps? Am I doing enough reps, I should say? Everyone's level of soreness can be different, obviously, but when you're weight training or working out, there's microscopic type damage that is done to your muscles, and your muscles will repair themselves and rebuild, and that's how you grow stronger muscles and you get more muscle development. And so if you're never getting to that level of having any kind of soreness, you definitely need to reassess what you're doing. A lot of people work out at home, and I think that's great, and I think that's definitely what the majority of people have to do because of our lifestyles. It's real busy, or maybe you can't afford a gym, maybe you have to watch your kids, whatever the reason may be. A lot of people do train at home. But if you're training at home and all you have available to you is 5-pound dumbbells, 8-pound dumbbells, a band, if the equipment you have available is minimal, if you're just doing body weight workouts, those are all, again, they're okay to incorporate. I'm not shaming on those, but what I'm saying is if you want to really be able to see results, you do have to cause some damage to the muscle. You have to be able to cause that type of confusion to your body. And if you're lifting the same exact weight every workout, then likely you're not working hard enough. You are not living up to your potential. So take note of what you're lifting, how heavy you're going with your workouts, and see if there's room for improvement. It's super easy to get complacent, and I feel like that's where I've been at recently. I'm someone who's been in the bodybuilding world for a long time now, for like 6-7 years or something. So I've been lifting for a long time, and it's really easy for me to kind of just get into the same routine and grab the dumbbells that I know I can lift and not challenge myself or push myself. So ask yourself if you're doing that, or if you're in an environment that really motivates you to do that. I think that's important to note as well in terms of your workout intensity. I'm someone that goes to a few different gyms, and they offer me a different environment at each gym I go to. And so sometimes that environment is more conducive to a very laid back, like quiet, slow-paced type world. In other gyms, everyone's lifting like all out. It's really intense. It's super motivating. So if you've been to different gyms or different environments, you can see where it impacts you and how you perform. So also ask yourself that. Am I working out at home, but I can't really push myself hard because it's not motivating for me to be in my basement gym? Maybe you do need to find a way to suck it up and find a gym or an environment that's more conducive to your motivation levels, that really lights that fire under your butt. I think about something that really motivates me is always when Jason and I go to visit Mark Lobliner, and we go to the Tiger Fitness gym. He's got a gym right in his headquarters. Or anytime we've been anywhere with Mark, like, he's an intense guy, and he does not go into the gym and waste his time. He goes in there, he gets his workout done, he does it intensely, whether it's a 30-minute session or a 60-minute session. And I know for myself, I always feel super motivated when I'm training with him, and we're always working out in these epic gyms that really just, they make you want to work harder. And it's important. Like, you need to be in a space that makes you want to be better and push harder and push to those limits. And it's hard to do it on your own, guys. That's why a lot of us hire personal trainers, or a lot of us do group fitness classes. And those are such great options if that's what motivates you. But they are more expensive, obviously, and not everyone can afford those types of training programs. So if you can't and you're training on your own, you've got to find that environment that puts you in that zone where you can push yourself super hard. Going back to soreness for a minute, I do want to mention though, it's not about being so sore head to toe every single day where you can't walk. That's not good either, and that's not what you're aiming to do in order to make progress. You really should allow some time in between your training sessions, depending on what body parts you're training. If it's shoulders, allowing a day or two of recovery before you hit those again. So it's not about being the most sore person every single day, but again, with soreness, you want to be creating some type of soreness in your body. And I want to know, as I mentioned, I've been doing this for a long time. Unfortunately, the reality is the longer you do it, the longer you train, the harder it is to kind of stimulate your muscles, stimulate the soreness. And so you just have to keep finding ways. Which brings me into the next sign to talk about if you're working hard enough or not, thinking about your training variety. Are you going into the gym every day doing the same exact thing that you've been doing for the past 6 months? Are you only doing a running program and you're not lifting any weights, or vice versa? Are you only doing a lifting program and not doing any type of cardio or high intense training? There's so many different forms of exercises, and number one, to me, it gets boring doing the same thing day after day. I do like, don't get me wrong, I do like getting a training program and sticking with it for like 8 to 12 weeks or so, or maybe even a little bit longer if I'm trying to do a very regimented cut of some sort where I'm trying to see set goals. But for any of us, even if you're just a normal not a normal person, but if you're just, your average person in fitness, you're not doing bodybuilding or anything extreme, for anyone, it's important that you add variety to it, because it can get boring. And not only that, but your body is super adaptable and it will get used to what you're doing. So if you're going into the gym every week doing the same amount for squats, or you're doing the same style bicep curl every time you go into the gym, your body does adapt to that and you are not going to respond as well. So think about the last time you switched up your program and switched up your training style, and incorporate some different things. You have to challenge yourself. Again, it comes down to, are you pushing yourself hard enough? Are you really challenging yourself? And I know for myself, I feel like the past few months, I haven't really been challenging myself. I've been doing the same old stuff that I always do in the gym, which I know how to do. It makes me feel comfortable. It's not too hard. Yeah, your girl sweats, but sweating is not always indicative of, again, an epic workout. Some of us just sweat more than others, you guys, and I'm one of those people as I sit here and sweat. So you need to think about what you've been doing. Is it the same old stuff that you've been doing the past 10 years? It very well could be, and maybe that's comfortable for you, and that's just the level of fitness you want to maintain. So that's fine, but if you're someone who is trying to challenge yourself and reach different goals and see changes in your body, you have to switch it up. Makes me think back to a time when I was just doing long distance running. I was training for my marathons, so running was my primary focus. And then my lifting at the time was doing like a set amount of like machines. I would do 3 to 4 machines after my workout. And that was my entire like fitness regimen for probably like all through college. I did the same stuff, and I always wanted to have more muscle. I always wanted to have, I wanted to be toned. I wanted to have more definition, and my body never changed. And I didn't understand it because I felt like I was so fit. You know, I could run marathons. Why didn't I look the part? And it's because I was doing the same old stuff all the time. I never switched it up. I never wasn't lifting correctly. I wasn't actually doing true lifting to build muscle. And I also, a separate video, but I certainly wasn't eating enough to be able to gain muscle. But so ask yourself that. Are you doing the same old stuff you were back in 1998? You know, Jane Fonda aerobics in your basement? It's time to switch it up, people. You have to challenge yourself, and it's uncomfortable. I get that. Going into that Orange Theory class, I felt so vulnerable because I feel like, you know, people know me as a fitness person. So to go into that class as someone who has not got my heart rate up that high in forever and feel like I'm gonna puke and I'm turning beet red, you know, I felt embarrassed. But you know what? No one was even looking at me because everyone else in that room was focusing on themselves and probably how much they also wanted to throw up because you're pushing yourself. So think about that too. Are you holding yourself back out of the fear of what others may think of you, or others might look at you, or who cares? You have to not worry about everyone and their brother, or else you will never make yourself happy. So go into the gym, or you know, whatever it is you want to do with your fitness routine, and challenge yourself. At least find some way you can challenge yourself. And I'm sure anyone watching this video can list off one thing you could do to push yourself a little bit harder. And if you can, I want you to comment that below because I think it's super motivating and inspiring to hear what other people are doing to challenge themselves. So please comment that below. Lastly, I know I've touched on intensity, but I want to go back to your training intensity, whether again, I'm not just talking to bodybuilders here. I'm talking to anyone of any level of fitness, whether you're a runner, whether you're someone that just does Zumba, whether you're a swimmer. I don't care what it is, but think about the level of intensity you're having with your workouts. That's something I've been missing recently, and that can make all the difference sometimes. You know, as someone who has been through prep where I needed to see weekly changes, I needed to see those results every week, and you're doing everything you can with your diet, you ask yourself in your cardio sessions, am I really pushing to intensity, or am I just doing it to get it done? Same with your lifts. Are you just lifting those same weights, or are you lifting with intensity? And it can get lost so easily, especially if you're someone that's done it for a long period of time. So how do you kind of reignite that intensity without being complacent? So for me, I get bored in the gym easy, as I mentioned, and that's an easy way for me to be motivated to bump up the intensity. I don't want to be bored when I go to the gym. I go there because it makes me feel good. It's such a great outlet for me for my stress. It definitely helps with those hormone levels. It helps me with my mood. I'm just a better Kara when I go to the gym. So I want to make my time there optimized. I don't want to be at the gym for 2 hours twiddling my thumbs, scrolling through the Instagram, when I could have been in and out in a 45-minute workout that could have been so much more intense and valuable to my body and to my schedule, okay? Because we're all super busy. So thinking about optimizing your time in the gym and thinking about getting that intensity up. So sometimes for me, it's just changing, even if you're not changing your workout plan, changing the rate at which you're working out, maybe doing more intervals. Maybe if you're lifting, you do more explosive movements, or maybe you do things with, maybe you add in drop sets, maybe you add in supersets, maybe you add in plyos, maybe you start, doing a random 15-minute sprint on the treadmill before you go back to lifting. There's so many different ways you can get creative in effort to keep it fun and also keep that intensity up. So be realistic with yourself about how intense you're training before you start getting bogged down with not getting the results that you want. Take a clear look at what you guys are doing. Think about some of the items I've discussed in this video today and ask yourself, if there's room for improvement there. If you are someone that's not seeing the changes that you're seeking out in your fitness program, then ask yourself if you are doing all these things or if you have some areas for improvement. Because I think we can all find that we have a few little things that we could tweak, and sometimes that seriously can make all the difference. That's going to wrap up this video for today. I hope you guys found this information helpful. If anything, maybe it was all stuff you knew, but maybe just hearing it will help you push a little bit harder in the gym this week. I know for me, it's definitely going to help me move forward with a bit more intensity this week. And I'm also adding in a new training program, so that's just going to help spice up that variety for me. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you did find this video helpful, and I will see you in the next video.